All right, welcome everybody. Okay. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. I love quilting pantographs today. So we're just going to go through and learn how to quilt pantographs. But if you have automation, you're quilting pantographs, not free motion with your automation. For this class, we're going to discuss how to size and create our pantographs to work whether you have the automation or free motion. So just quickly, I want to show you how to release the belts so that you can quilt your pantographs in free motion. Okay, everybody, you can loosen the belts, but you have to take the top belt off to do free motion. Hands down, there's no other way. Now, if you like the tension with the belts being connected, that's fine. You can use it that way, but I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to loosen the belts so that you can free motion quilt, because I want you to quilt free motion. All right, so for this bottom belt, this long belt here, it just needs to be loosened, okay? So I'm just going to loosen it. Now, you see there's no slack, but remember, if you're using the automation, to tighten these back up. Otherwise, it's not going to do a thing, okay? So you've loosened this one. Now, this is the really important thing. You need to take the top belt out of both sides of this bracket. You don't have to pull it out, but you do have to take it out of each end. So all I'm doing is I loosened this knob here, and I'm taking this out. I'm going to tape it, or put it underneath this little flap here, and it's going to hold it down out of the way. Now I've done the back side. Now I'm going to go do the front. Same rule applies. Loosen this knob and then take the belt totally out and get it out of your way. If you do not take it all the way out, then it's connected. So pretend. See what happens? Now it's going to get caught up in there. You'll see all the little problems. Take it out. Remember, put these back. You saw how quick this was? It only takes that much time to take it out. And now it's still threaded through, but it's disconnected, and now I have free range of motion. Okay, everybody. Okay, so now we want to discuss what a pantograph is. So a pantograph is a continuous line drawing with one single line that it just continues on, and you don't pick up your pencil to draw an image or design. So a pantograph is a repeat of that design across your quilt. And it could be several different design elements. So let's take this little snowman as our example. So you'll notice that I have this little snowman right here to the right side of the screen. And he's small and compact and very dense in size. He starts here on the left, and he goes around, and you'll do his hands, or his little stick for his hands, come up and do his hat as you're going across. You'll go and do his scarf. See how it's one continuous line design, and it ends. And notice how the start and stop are on the same plane. This is it to enable us to take several repeats of this design and turn it into a pantograph. So the design itself is called the continuous line drawing or design, and a pantograph is a repeat of this design across your quilt. So with this snowman, the smaller that he is, the less design elements that you will want to make on him. So think about, as you're free motion quilting, if I'm quilting a small, dense design, I don't want to add a lot to it. Maybe I'd lose the scarf and I'd just do the two round circles and the hands and the hat on his head. That would be fine as well. But the larger I make him, so you'll notice this snowman to the right of the smaller one is larger, but I can add a nose and a mouth and some eyes, and it doesn't look messy. I can just add these extra little design elements to kind of make it more fun and quirky. But notice that my start and stop are here on the same level as well. on this one on the bottom, he's a continuous line design, but right here on the hat, I've gone back over a line, and sometimes you have to stitch back over a line to get to a new space to continue your line drawing. There's no wrong way to do it. You just need to have some good rules. For a pantograph or continuous line drawing, it needs to start and stop on the same level or the same plane. Also, you can stitch back over. You can go back and add elements. So there are lots of ways to do it, but that one rule of thumb remains to be said is that it needs to start and stop on the same plane. All right, let's go through and talk about how to make our continuous line design a pantograph across your quilt. So there are a couple different styles I wanted to talk about. One is a border to border. This is when you're going out and looking for designs online, and sometimes you're getting paper printed versions of them. Other times you're using them with the automation. And the other one is an edge to edge design. So this border to border is a design that really fits along the same path. There's not a lot of hills and valleys in between them, each design. So it works well inside the borders of your quilt. This edge to edge style of design works really well sewing off the edges of your quilt. Most of your quilts that you send out probably have an edge to edge design. And you'll notice to the right, I show you kind of how it's going to look as you move across your quilt with the hills and the valley and it being kind of on the same level. On this next page, I'm showing you what a true edge-to-edge design looks like on a border-to-border quilt. Here is a cute little rainbow design that I made. And you'll notice that when I have it sew off the edges, I'm cropping off the sides of the quilt. So it's filling in those side gaps and the top gaps, okay? Because I am cropping it off. But when I put it inside a border and I can't crop it off, notice all these little gaps in between. So it really doesn't work well inside the borders of your quilt. So this probably wouldn't be a design that you choose. And if you'll look to the right, these are several really pretty edge-to-edge designs that probably wouldn't work really well. I know they won't work really well inside the borders. So pick the correct design or draw the correct design that will work well for how you want to quilt it or the end result. Now, this one down at the bottom, works really well for both styles, but you'll notice that it's kind of linear. So they stack up on the top of each other, and you may not like that look. And so you may opt to do a different style of design. But this one, even if you crop it, looks just fine. But if I didn't want to crop it, notice I have a beginning design and an end design where no crops are there and very few little gaps in between. So it fills in the space really well from top to bottom, side to side. And you'll notice that to the right are several different designs that really fill in the gaps. Okay, let's talk about sizing and spacing our pantographs. Okay, your machine determines how tall you can quilt your designs. But there's some other aspects too. So if you measure from your needle to the back of your throat, this isn't the back of your throat right here. This is, this will tell you your throat space of your machine. Okay, but there's another determining factor as well. It's called the roll-up factor and the quilt size. If you have a large quilt, and you have a lofty batting, as you roll it, even if you have an idler rail, the idler rail just mitigates you having to raise and lower it up off the plate of the machine, up off the bottom of this. But it doesn't mitigate how much rolling is going to cause you to lose your quilting space. So as you are quilting, just to remember as you roll up, and if you have a loftier pattern using Minky, you are going to lose more quilting area. That goes to say, how do we size our designs so that as we start quilting, we can end quilting with the same size design? All right, so these are some rules of thumbs. So if you have a machine throat with the throat space from 8 to 10 inches wide, then you can easily quilt a 3 to 5 inch height design. If it's 12 to 16, a 5.5 to 8 inch, and a 19, a 10 inch, and a 21, 12 inches. Don't go any higher than that because you will run into problems. So my example of this is, say I have a 10-inch throat machine, and my quilt is 50 inches wide by 50 inches tall. Then you could quilt or size your design for a single row pantograph at 5 inches tall. Or you could lower the height and do 2 rows at 2.5, or 3 rows at an inch and a quarter tall. But you'll notice to the right that the bigger it is, the less dense it is. The smaller I go, the more dense. So if this isn't what you want, just think about the height and how tall you can quilt it. Make sure that you size it correctly so that it fits in the space from top to bottom, and always remember the roll-up factor. So here I'm going to talk to you about registration marks. Registration marks for whether you're using the automation or free motion quilting are essential. They're essential because they will help you size and space your rows as well as your designs across your quilt. So see here, I have 6 zones or sections across my quilt. I could fit two of these little snowmen in this section, each section. And I've sized them for that. But if I wanted to make it an edge to edge design where it's an up and down look, I probably could only quilt one. And we have to make sure that they fit within each section, fitting in from the height, from the edge, top edge to the bottom edge within our throat space. And that's really, really important. So use tape or marking pencils and pens to help you, or stickers to mark your place before you, as you move across your quilt and as you roll, so that you get this nice perfected look for your design. All right. Okay, I'm trying to help you understand how to position yourself as you're quilting to make it more. Okay, I'm trying to help you understand how to position yourself as you're quilting to make it more comfortable and easier for you to quilt across your quilt. So notice that this little area is my starting area, so I've kind of positioned myself in the middle so I can reach here all the way over to here. But when I get to this point, notice how I start to tip just a little bit. This is where I want to stop. This is my range right here. So I will want to stop, leave my needle in the down position so I don't lose my place, and then I can step over and reposition. Hey, hi. Sorry, that was your range of motion. Now I want to talk about feet. My mouse is a little sensitive, so I'm sorry about that, you guys. Let's talk about the machine settings and our feet. Remember, the range of motion is really, really important and crucial, especially when you're free motion quilting. Not so much because when you're using the automation, it's actually moving for you, but we want to keep our spacing nice and consistent. So make sure you're doing your design within the range that you can reach, and then stopping where you can reposition to make it nice and comfortable for you. So your machine settings are really important. Make sure you're using the right mode, from regulated precise mode to regulated cruise mode to manual mode, for the design that you are quilting. And then there are different tools and accessories that you would want to use. And I'm going to show you different styles of quilting feet to use for the different styles of edge to edge that you can incorporate, and they just really help help you make your designs easier and quicker. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Echo Foot. The Echo Foot just helps you space your design stitching lines evenly, whether it's small, medium, or large scale, and it just gives you a beautiful look. The micro stipple foot helps you do really dense, compact designs. And I know I say in these videos, I love each of these feet. It is true. I do love all of them. Then we have the open toe, which gives you a clear line of sight for your needle. So if you have to stitch back over a line that you've already stitched, then it really helps you see where the needle is so you won't deviate from that line. And then there's the ruler foot that you can use templates. I just really like them all. Well, let's jump in and watch these little videos of each of the quilting feet.
Hi.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to show you how to pull up your threads from the bottom to the top and tie off a knot, first of all. And so I've positioned my machine and my needle over where I want to start quilting, and I'm going to push my needle up, needle down button and insert the needle. And notice it has gone down in. I'm going to push it one more time to bring it back up, and now I'm holding on to my thread tail. If I pull it, look what happens. I pull it away, it will bring the bottom thread up. Now I'm going to hang on to both of those tails. I'm going to align my machine over where that bottom thread tail is coming up, and now I'm going to tie a little knot, okay? And I'm positioning my needle right over that hole. I'm just going to move it slightly, tie it off, and now using the small Echo Foot, I can start quilting. With the small Echo Foot, and I have it in regulated precise, I'm going slow to show you that this foot is going to help you gauge the distance of your designs. So it's helping you with the spacing. See, I'm using the edge of the foot to kind of help me gauge it as I come in and I come back out, and I want to use the edge of my foot. Sorry, I'm showing you how it works, and I'm pulling away. So use the edge of your foot as a guide. To come back in, I'm going to use the edge, come back around to keep my gauging spacing nice and consistent. Okay, so now I can come back around. I'm using the edge again. This time you can really see it, okay? Okay, because I'm going so slow, I'm not showing you. Okay, so that's what the Echo Feet do, is they really will help you space your designs. There's a small, this is a small, this is a medium, and a large. So see how my distance is nice and consistent right here. So try the Echo Feet out. As you're quilting your edge-to-edge design, it will really help you. All right, we're done with that one.
Okay,
Hi everybody.
That one, and then let's go to the next one. This is the micro stipple foot.
Okay, so this is the micro stipple foot. Notice that it has really small little teeth. This is to help you gauge your design size and to make really small, intricate designs. So notice I brought my thread up, and now you can actually see the needle really well. I'm going to tie off my stitch. Okay. So I've tied off my stitch. Now I'm going to start quilting, but I'm going to do little teeny tiny circles, and see how it helps me keep it nice and small. And I can keep it close together. So this is really good if you need to do a pantograph design and accentuate another design. Then you wanted to quilt around it, or you could just go straight up and down. It really just does help you move across your quilt and really be able to see your design. So explore this foot. I love this foot. I use it a lot, okay? See how it's helping me make even my spirals really, really small. And so this.
All right, our next one's the open toe.
So this is the open toe. This is really good to help you see your needle position at all times, okay? So say you wanted to make a feather design. Okay, so a hump and bump. Say I wanted to come back over and go back over on that same line and stay on this. This helps me gauge where the needle's at so that I can move back over that already stitched line and stay on it as close as possible, okay? So this is a really good one to be able to gauge where the needle is at all times. It's one I use all the time. See how I'm just going back over my hump and bump.
All right, and the next one we want to
Hi,
talk about,
everybody.
sorry,
Welcome.
is the ruler.
Thanks for joining me. I'm going to show
And the
you a short
registration
little
link.
video on some quilting ideas and techniques that I use to help me with my pantograph designs and help me scale and size them correctly. Now, this is for either free motion or automation, just so that you understand how you want to size and scale your designs. Okay, let's get started. All right, so what I did is I took 5 sheets of paper, 8.5 by 11, and I cut them into various squares. You can cut a 5-inch square, which is this one right here. You can cut a 3.5-inch square and a 6-inch square. These are the pieces that were left over on the end. So we're going to utilize those in just a minute, but I want to show you with the squares what I did. So I taped them together, okay? And this is how I started coming up with my pantograph. I wanted to use what I call a registration line, okay? And it's a line that I can add little elements or design aspects. If you go out online and you see a lot of pantographs, they're made using a line and then they add elements on them to make them a continuous line. However, when I started drawing this one, I started with it down here and I went up and down, but I ended up here. Now, you can't do that when you're making a continuous line design, because I can't take this where it starts again and shift it and move, because what will happen is my start and stop don't match up. So I turned it over and I made it work, okay? So I did my up and down all the way across, but I made them match up, okay? So make sure your start and your stop match up and they're all on the same level of each other so that you can jump off and continue your continuous line design. Then with this, I added cute little elements. So with this one, I came in and did a spiral with little popcorn or little flower-like. And you can do that up and down, and see how cute and nice that fills that in. And this is helping me practice and understand scale and design. Now I eliminated the little popcorn part of it or the little flower part of it, and I just did spirals. And you can make them big, you can make them smaller, you can have them different sizes, whatever you like. Then I added hearts, and then this is just kind of a little paisley or a little feather design. So decide what kind of a design you want to turn into a pantograph, and maybe you want all 3 of them, and maybe you flip it and rotate it. So here's another way to use your, what I call your registration line or your path. So instead of the, what do I want to call it? The mounds, I wanted to use mountains, okay? These are hills, these are mountains. All right, and so we come up to the top and we just make them V's. So you could add a spiral right here and go down and do this, and then you could go up and do this, or you could do circles, you could even do little feathers, and you can also use rulers. So I put my ruler foot on and I found a ruler that works just right. So for this size square, I made my mark, and this is my little marking tool. I used just tape and I put it right above the line because that's where it works best for me to center. So for this one, I wanted to make sure that I had my center markings so that as I go around, these marks or these registration marks help us quilt more accurately so it looks like we know what we're doing. So with this one being centered, I can line up my center, go across this, and make this using my ruler, a continuous line design. So utilize this because it will really help you as you're quilting, and you'll know right where to start and stop because you know right where to place your ruler, okay? Or your template. Now I have a 6-inch size, which will allow me to quilt a larger design. So your designs are determined by the throat space of your machine. So have fun exploring design. Now, this is just a little short snippet of what you can do. We're going to join me back up in the classroom where we're going to get down and play with designs.
All right, we're going past one. So right here, as we're practicing, I want you to think about a few things. I want you to think about thread color. Do you want to see the threads, or do you want to disappear inside the fibers of the quilt? Do you want the piecing to be the main component you want it to pop? So use the paper and the tape and the chalk, or whatever your mode that's easiest for you, to make those registration lines so that it will help you draw your design across your quilt. Then use the correct quilting mode, from regulated cruise to precise to manual. Explore those options. One of them you may find might be easier for you to move across your quilt rather than the other. So it's worth trying these different modes. Now, if you have a domestic machine, you're not going to have all 3 modes. But if you have a long arm, you are. Another thing is manual mode might be a little smoother feel if you want to follow a pantograph across your quilt using a laser. That's a really good way to practice, but then you are in charge of your speed. So make sure that you have your settings correctly for how fast the needle is going to go up and down for you to move your quilt across, move your machine across your quilt at the right speed, because you are the stitch regulator. If you know the design and you know it well, raise the speed up because you're going to go faster. And as you go faster, you're going to elongate your stitches. But if you do not know it, lower the speed, because you don't want teeny tiny stitches inside because you're moving across it really, really slow. So get to know your design before. Practice it on paper. The last thing I want to talk to you about is just quilting a pantograph. Just go and have fun. Get rid of your anxieties and enjoy the quilting process.
Pull our threads up. Now, this is one icebreaker. Now, I have this cute little quilt on, but I'm just going to quilt. So, I want you to notice that I have my range of motion. And so I'm just going to kind of envision myself quilting with my eyes closed and go across. Just have fun, get loose, come back, make your motion. Okay, so now I'm going to come back this way, and maybe I want to add a little paisley, come back around, have fun. And so now I kind of quilted the square and my range, and see how nice and easy it is? Now I'm ready to move out of this square to the next one. But I want you to notice how even everything looks. So try to keep your spacing nice and even.
All right. And just join us and watch this on YouTube. Make sure that you click on the like, because I want to do a lot more of these. If you have any questions as you're watching this, I went through it pretty fast. Please email me at karla@graceframe.com, and then share it with others. We as quilters are really good at sharing what we know and what we love with others, from the piecing to the quilting. And subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the whole process. I hope you enjoyed it. There was so much more I want to learn, and I want you to make sure that you come and see me and take a class. Or if you can't come and take a class, just please email me. We want to stay in touch, but we also want to grow this community of quilters. Thanks for joining me today, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to learn how we can create pantographs and stay quilting. Bye.